Hey everybody, it's Jake Tapper from State of the Union on CNN and factcheck.org, and this week we're going to take a look at a claim. It might seem like it was ages ago, but really it was just a few days ago when the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen claimed that there was no Trump administration policy to separate children from their parents at the border. Let's take a look at the Trump administration's insistence that this policy never even existed. Here's Secretary Nielsen's tweet earlier in the week, quote, "We do not have a policy of separating families at the border, period." Is that true? Did the Trump administration not have a policy of separating families at the border? No, not by any reasonable understanding of the policy and the English language. Secretary Nielsen is parsing in a rather too cute way. The Trump administration policy was actually a zero-tolerance immigration policy. It was enacted in April, and it forced the Department of Homeland Security to refer all 100% of adults caught crossing the border illegally for criminal prosecution. Before, there was prosecutorial discretion. They could be prosecuted or not. But by referring everyone for criminal prosecution, that directly resulted in the separation of families. It's like saying, if you're playing basketball and you're taking a shot and I push you, I didn't actually cause you to miss the shot. Well, I took an action that caused you to miss the shot. In fact, for a long time, members of the Trump administration talked about enacting this zero-tolerance policy, at least in part, to create the separation of children from their parents as a deterrent, so families would stop trying to cross the border illegally. Take a listen.
In order to deter more movement along this terribly dangerous network, I am considering exactly that. They will be well cared for as we deal with their parents.
If you smuggle an illegal alien across the border, then we'll prosecute you for smuggling. If you're smuggling a child, then we're going to prosecute you. And that child will be separated from you, probably, as required by law.
Earlier in the week, Secretary Nielsen said, quote, "Congress alone can fix it." But then, just a few days later, President Trump announced that he alone was going to fix it. Similarly, President Trump signed that executive order directing that families be detained together less than a week after he said, quote, "You can't do it through an executive order." However, President Trump also said that the zero-tolerance policy will continue. Now, this is going to be difficult because under a consent decree from 1997, the so-called Flores versus Reno decision, no undocumented child can be detained for longer than 3 weeks by the U.S. government. So if adults and children are together during this period, they're not going to be able to be detained if they stay together for longer than 3 weeks. All of it, like most immigration law, is rather complicated. But the bottom line, while Secretary Nielsen and President Trump initially tried to deny that this was their policy, and they tried to deny that they had the power to fix it, the administration's own zero-tolerance approach is the reason the families were separated. Moreover, according to other members of the Trump administration, one of the reasons they enacted it was to create the separation of families as a deterrent, so families would stop trying to cross the border illegally. A reminder to all you politicians out there, you're perfectly entitled to your own opinions, not to your own facts. I'm Jake Tapper for CNN State of the Union and factcheck.org.